Good morning all, we've got FOMC today and we're going to change it around a little bit on the morning bulletin. We're going to look at the robot first today, and we had a dollar yen that came through. It's basically like a test. It was a legit signal, but we have like a rule in the robot that we don't allow any yen trades to go back and forth. It's just like a big no-no for yen. But however, this was a legit signal. So I just wanted to just push it through and to see how it's going to go. And we had an entry at 151.59. We're at 151.28. So far so good. Depending that this goes okay, maybe we can start releasing yen trades into the robot. It's worth noting the gold. We're tracking below the 20 EMA. Like I said yesterday in that video that I made late last night at 10 o'clock. It's just a quick one, just to really, to try and establish the trend. Is when price goes below the 20 MA on the H4, it can indicate a downtrend. When we're above the 20 MA, then we can indicate an uptrend, and then we're currently below it again. So it looks like we might continue to fall a little bit. I know we've got some support at 1946, so it might be around there. That should be a sufficient enough move. There'll be lots of stops here as well. And also you can use the MA as your stop loss as well, so dynamic stop. So that's where you would exit potentially. Maybe give it a little bit of breathing room above the MA. It's quite a wide stop now, but if you got it as it crossed the MA, you could have got a better risk to reward. So that's the robot. Potentially we've got, we'll open the window for more yen crosses if this goes okay. And of course we've got talk about the yen intervention from the Bank of Japan, so we've got to be really careful. Well, let's look at the risk calc. So we'll start with the robot today. We'll go to the risk calc. Now we're not out the woods yet because there's still 6.5 people long on indices versus the one person selling, which is really unusual because they normally are conditioned to sell through fear. So that's of note. We had a change on the 24 hours to tell us that they're slowing down on those long bets. They're starting to sell. The technical's really pumped. Be careful with the yen because this has been a whipsaw from yesterday, and you might have noticed that the cross yen really pumped yesterday, and we had exceeded ADR, the daily ADR. So it looked like that pump has caused them to rethink their minds, their bias, and then now they're going long. So that's therefore a bearish indication. So be careful there. We do need these guys to be flushed out of their yen trades because they're causing a lot of skew, because they're holding on. They have to reverse. They have to get stopped out or take profit. They can't hold on, and they hold on a lot of yen, which is really strange. We had very much a risk on day yesterday. The VIX got absolutely destroyed and the indices rose. However, the dollar also rose as well, which is slightly weird. But then we had end of month rebalancing, so I think that's explaining that. I can't see this being sustained if we're going to be risk on. If the VIX is going to get dumped like this, we shouldn't really have a stronger dollar. But we have got the FOMC later, and we've got the Powell Q&A. So he'll do his little speech, and he'll take question and answers, and there'll be some juicy stuff out from that. And it all depends on his rhetoric and how the market interprets what he's saying, or what he's not even saying as well. If he's avoiding certain words, that can be a big clue. And lots of keyword algos will be firing up tonight, so you've got to be careful. We might continue to be risk on, but we'd probably want a softer dollar. Okay, QDB scores. Let's refresh that. Pound CAD, Aussie CAD, green, which is okay. We've got a bit more gas left in the tank potentially. EN, EU at the bottom. They're very long on the Euro USD, so that's possibly we could be setting up for a bit of a dump there potentially, and we might need to flush those guys out. So they might need to get flushed out first before the Dixie starts to fall. So these guys are going to have to get out. They need to be ejected out of the casino, and then Dixie can fall. So hopefully that makes sense, that they're too long on the Euro USD, and the Euro is such a heavy component on Dixie, it looks like they're going to have to get flushed out in order for Dixie to come down, right? They sold yen, which is the opposite of yesterday. They were really long yen, now they're really short. They've gone long Kiwi, they're flat on the pound. They're selling the dollar slightly, but really the eyes on Japan, I think, the Bank of Japan, and just be careful. So that's the spreadsheet and robot. And there's DAX. Now they've really sold it. I'm not sure why exactly. It might have been the data from the Eurozone. I saw lots of sort of recessionary signals coming out from the data. Perhaps that was just enough. With the Middle East crisis, it was probably too much for them to bear, and it broke the camel's back, and they just gave up, and then they capitulated, and they really sold. It looks a little bit like it's a bug in the data, so if someone can check their end, that would be good. If you're perhaps using IG's broker or someone else is using FXCM, check that, see if they did something similar. It might have been like just a global thing, or it could just be this particular terminal, but they have really sold it, and so therefore we got a buy at the crossover here. It's a very strong candle there. Look at that wick below. So that's that. So that's DAX. So pending that they can continue to sell, up will come. And also do note that we're going sideways as well. We were trending lower, and now we're just going sideways. We're just ranging. Okay, so it could be primed for a breakout. There's DAX, US 30, US 500 even. So they sold it. They sold it again. They sold it. They went long, so we fell, and then they sold it. So it all depends what happens here. But I think they're probably going to sell it. I'm not sure. You have to be really careful. I'm still sitting on my hands because I like to trade the S&P, but I'm going to be really careful because we're still above the 50% line. Okay, but we have come off the extreme. We were 69% on the 27th. So yeah, what date was that? Friday. We were very extreme on Friday, and I was wondering whether or not they would hold on over the weekend. It looks like he started to sell it after Friday. You see, so be careful. I think they might sell it. I'm not sure. If they do go long, we're going to get a sell. So we will have the crossover. US 30, and yeah. So you know, I think what will probably happen will flip to buy by tomorrow, but it will depend on the press conference later. So we just need a little nudge, one tiny little nudge, a 2% nudge, and we'll be buy, and then this will pump. So you've got to be really careful if you're selling this, because if they heard they're going to sell it, it's going to punish them. And then gold. Gold is well, they're going long, so we can crack a box. And here, oh, this one. It's hard to map. Oh, look at that doji. Yeah, might we have to map that doji maybe. Yeah, there's a doji at the crossover. Just realised that. Okay, so we're still in that box. So we want, if you were selling this or long, you might want it above 1985, or if you're short, you want it below 1978. Okay, we see how we wick below, so you've got to be careful. And that's today's video. I'll be back later for the FOMC and the Q&A. I'll try and do some live analysis while he's speaking to see if he can give us any clues about direction, about what he's saying, what he's not saying, and maybe we can get a clearer picture by tomorrow. And what happens with these indices, we're not really entirely sure, but I think the Dow is going to flip to buy. The S&P still got a bit of way to go before we flip to buy. So this is still need a bit more patience. And the DAX had flipped to buy. As we can see, it's gone green. So big day today. Remember to take breaks, and I'll be back later for the press conference. I think it's in about 11 hours. Normally it's at 7, but the clocks have gone back in the UK, so it'll be at 6. So I'll be back at 6 o'clock tonight. I wholeheartedly recommend FXSidecom and their indicators for MetaTrader 4 and 5. It's a 7-day free trial, so do have a look. There's no credit card required. You might be lacking in some sentiment awareness, analysis, and it does complement technical and fundamentals very well. Especially if you're very technical, you could be missing out on some sentiment, or if you're particularly fundamental, you could be missing out on some sentiment. This is like a sweet zone. It complements both. and it gives you a very strong bias about direction as well. So technicals are great for direction, fundamentals are great for direction, but the sentiment sits in between. Okay, and so perhaps if you're missing out on some sentiment awareness, these are the best indicators in existence in the world for that. And then you can have a look at this. You've got a 7-day free trial, and you've got your order book, and you've got your indicators, including the ratios, which are amazing. Just look at my videos on my YouTube channel and you can see how powerful the ratios are. And you can have a look. Just take your time. You've got 7 days to trial them, and if you don't like them, then that's fair enough. You don't have to renew, but we do have a code if you want to, and it's just the QDB code, and it gives you a 10% discount, and that's it. So have a look, see what you think. And like I said, it's a 7-day trial, so you don't have to renew, but I think you'll probably find you will renew afterwards, because the order book and the ratios and the stop loss clusters as well are amazing. The stop loss clusters are great because you know where to target. Okay, so that's where you take profit, where people get stopped out. Okay, and that's it. So just a quick plug for the FXSidecom, and enjoy your day.